Now let's see. So we go edit. Now console. Let me see if I can swing around this way and get a link. I've got to do the share before I started. Let's see, does it? Yes. Options, get shareable link. Do clipboard. Considering I've only got one of my damn pages open on the Facebook. Woo. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to come over here. Just post this link in there. Ooh, I guess I'd better add a little info. Goodness. I just want to put that over on the Facebook page for shits and giggles. Come back over here. Let me close that one. All right. My eyes on so I can see. Obviously, I've already popped the tranny out. Getting my battery charged for my DeWalt. Let's take a look inside. I have not been in yet. Actually, go ahead and just pop the tranny right off. Get this puppy off. I gotta get a better set of drivers. I really need to do that before too long. You should just grab some MIPs or some Vanquish drivers and call it done. A little pricey, but worth the cost. Be careful what I'm doing and probably use my hand driver or regular Allen wrench, put that back in. At least to tighten it back up the rest of the way. Okay, these I'm going to put here so I don't knock them around. All right. Is that going to come out? Looks like it does. Got 5 screws holding the tranny assembly on the skid plate. And brush this out, take the dirt and crap out of it for now. It's So I hope everybody's having a good day out there. It's Friday. And, yeah, still Friday right now. July 2nd, 2021. Coming up on the 4th of July here. Half the country is kind of opened up and half the country is still kind of locked down. We're semi that way here in Michigan. Looks like they're having the big fireworks over in Bay City, which generally runs 3 nights, you know, a 3-night deal, depending on which day the 4th falls on. They have 2 small shows and a big show. I have no idea what they're doing this year, though. Might not be doing anything like that. They may just be doing 1 show. Who knows? I gotta look into it a little bit. I kind of keep a little bit cleaner on the work area. What did I do with my little brush? Alright, that's at least a little cleaner. So my big question for myself and anybody listening is I do want to, not really necessarily make this a crawler, but I do want to crawl to some extent with it. It's not too bad. It's kind of capable. I think it could be made better. You know, you drop smaller tires on it. Little bit of, you know, slamming it down, drop that COG, you know, get some metal, you know, axles or whatever to kind of lower the center of gravity, add some lower weight. Now you do pretty good. But I mainly want to use it as a trail racer or trail runner and rock climber or rock racer. I'm not climber racer. Okay. Okay, grease. Let's see about that. Look like I had a big old piece of plastic in there. Just grease. Let's see, what's that big old chunk of blob of crap? Bunch of grease spun all over everything but the gears. That's one of the bad things about just using straight grease on these. You need a really good sticky lithium grease. I've got a white bike chain grease, but that might not even be sticky enough. All right, let me grab that one's actually better. I think that's the right one. So yeah, motor and ESC options. Because I do want to kind of go slow, not slow. I mean, I don't want to, like my axe system, I can get that thing crawling so slow it barely even tell it's moving at first. But slow enough that, you know, you can still kind of crawl with it. So my biggest question is, you know, what combo is the way to go? Now, I bought a used 4x4 slash last year, and it had a max 8 2200 combo, and that thing was stupid fast on 3S and 4S. I mean, it was insane on 4S. Ripped out drive shafts within minutes. But you know, even on 2S, or I'm sorry, 3S, because that max 8 doesn't do 2S. On 3S, it was really, you know, fast. But when I wanted to go slow with that 4x4 slash, I could, you know, lightly get on the finger, and it would, you know, didn't have much cogging. It would go pretty slow, and actually generally handled pretty darn good. And let's see, I don't think it's that one. Looks like a smaller one. That was too small. I don't think it's that one either. Might be that one. I don't know. Yeah, that's in there pretty darn good. I might need to heat that puppy up. I don't know. I didn't really haul that good. Let's see if I can find a more fitting Allen wrench to get in there. I think that one's going to do it. That might. Yeah, so that 2200 Max 8 2200 non-censored, and if you are familiar with this, non-censored motors, you know, have some issues, you know, with cogging on the lower side. They can, you know, trying to find out where the stator's at and which way it's supposed to be spinning. That one, sure. And that causes a bit of cogging. Some serious issues in many cases. Oh, that one's even worse than that one. One of those small ones that are in that setup I should have. More here. Right there. I think these are in better condition. So I picked up I ended up selling the Hobby Wing last fall or early this spring, I think. No, I wish I didn't, because I could have used it in this. At least tried it out, but I went ahead and ended up picking one up. So I've got a brand Max 8. I guess that wasn't too bad. KB uncensored system. But I'm thinking I should have went with a censored setup. And my original thought was throw that into this and then take this stock motor and ESC and throw it into my scale prep build, which has a axle and custom slop together parts pieces from different manufacturers to make a chassis, regular crawler type chassis, live axle, solid axle on the rear end using an SSD axle kit. Modified Bandit front end for the steering and the 2-wheel drive up front, and Ryft, SSD Ryft Tranny, and a few other parts. But I figured I'd put this in that. And then, of course, like I say, I bought this Hobby Wing to put into it. But I'm second guessing my options there. I'm thinking I should have went with a censored system. So I think I'm going to return that. I shouldn't have a problem returning that. And then order the, I'm thinking the Casa, but I think I'll go ahead and do what many others suggesting and go with the Tecan RX4 ESC. I've got an RX8 on one of my drag rigs. That RX4 is you know, nice heavy duty, pretty much 8 scale, good high end, you know, high big 10 scale unit. So, all right, this diff still feels pretty good. The front and back diff and the Ryft were trash. I mean, totally trash. They're there, but they were skipping real bad, bouncing all over the place, having problems, you know, staying well engaged. So I bought a couple lockers, and they got here last week, and I turned around and installed them in the rear and the front. I didn't take the tranny out. I didn't have the 2-speed, so I figured, well, I'll install it in the front because the diffs in the Centerdiff felt pretty good, gears and everything. So I figured, okay, no reason to really screw with that at the moment. So I went ahead through the lockers in the front and rear diff so I could get out and run it, make it go. And I figured, well, I got some other parts, got the 2-speed in and the other stuff. Still need a adapter, I think, for the shift. I'm using the Reese, so I might have one with the 2-speed. I don't know here. But I figured I would take the diff out of this, rebuild it, put it in the front axle, take the diff out of the front axle, which has the locker, and put it in the center in the tranny while I got it open. So I'd have the locked center and locked rear and the, you know, open diff in the front. Might still screw out the front diff, but I've got 2 diff rebuild kits and another locker on the way, and the locker will be here either tomorrow, but most likely Tuesday is what I'm going to expect. So I figured, well, until then, I can turn around and do a few of these things here and get some of this stuff done. It's the wrong end. It's the wrong end. At least do some of this stuff. Let's see, it's the first time I've been in this case. Now I understand when the 2-speed goes in, there are some clearance problems getting the 2-speed to stay engaged, and there's a couple solutions for that. I see some people are clearancing the case, the plastic case, and getting some clearance out of the back of that so the shifter mechanism can actually engage fully and keep it in second gear better once it's set up with the 2-speed. And then I see other people are thinning down the shift fork on the one side, because I guess the shift's in the first and stays in first quite well, but they're thinning down the shift fork on the one side and then turning around and getting more engagement that way. So I'll probably clearance the case because it's plastic for now. And should I upgrade if I have a need? I don't. Some things I do want a lower COG, but I don't know that going with a metal tranny case will accomplish that as well. Not without metal axles first. And if I don't need to go with high dollar metal axles, I prefer to stay with stocks. I've got another axle case. It's brand new. in the newest version, so it's got all the extra beefiness around it and bulkiness around the axle housing and the servo mount. And I'll put tubes in that to strengthen it up. Should I have an issue, or when I have an issue with this, at some point I'll probably just go ahead and swap it. I'm probably going to have to take that off. Ooh, let's see. That size? Yeah. But if we can take it and actually get it going decently without having to throw the high-end metal at it, like the Vitabond or the Trio or Vanquish. If Vanquish comes out with stuff, which I kind of suspect they will. And with Vanquish having the Curry licensing, there's good possibility, I imagine, we'll come up with we'll see some Curry badged axles coming out of Vanquish. I was just watching Josh's stream. They built a Toyon engine, and I dropped the question about diff gears, hardened diff gears, and the reply was most likely that will happen. So it sounds like folks over at Vanquish are jumping in full head, right into the water, and they're looking at, a few things. Obviously, they do a bunch of axles, in the Curry brands, as I just mentioned. They do a bunch of hardened gears and stuff. So if they're looking at a hardened, one more there is that, a hardened set of diff gears, as I, asked, that would be a wonderful thing. Because then you could, leave the rear unlocked or the center unlocked. If you grab the Vitabond diff cases, because Vitabond has their, they've got diff cases out. That puppy. Oh, probably got to pull that out right there. I imagine. Okay, so we got this apart. Like I say, this actually felt like everything was in good shape. But I think I'm still going to rebuild it. The other two sets of gears I took out, I got those set aside, but you can see they are worn when you compare them to the new sets. The center spider gears are, all the tops are about a third of the way gone. They're not breaking off, they're just worn off. I found absolutely no shards in all the oil and grease, just plenty of gray silicone fluid. It was pretty well wore out on the inside. So I don't have a great camera setup or anything. Not yet. I haven't, went that far. Never really thought about, doing it with the Baja. Uploaded some vids and stuff we did out at Silver Lake and local, and running at some local places with different versions of Baja and other RCs at the time. Crawlers, AX10s, the Scorpion, the original crawler. Although I don't know how much of that stuff is still up. Some of it's up there a little bit in the back. I think I lost some stuff, and then lost some emails, and had stuff in my emails that I never pulled out and downloaded, and then lost the ability to get to them. Alright, clean that up a little bit just to kind of spit it out. We'll put some better grease. Using actual marine grease. Actually, I got that white lithium grease too. That might actually work out pretty good in here. And I got fast steady bearings, so I'll be digging those out. But I figured I'd go with the locker in the front here and get that out, put it in the center, and then when my other locker comes in, if I want to lock the front back up, it will be much easier. And I've got the 444, Ryft 444 in steering duty. My one rig, I have a 555 in, and it's a lot of servo. I don't know that it's going to need that much servo. So I may pull the 555 out of that rig and put it in the Ryft here, and then take the 444 and put it in my SSD kit that I got the 555 in right now. Do a little swapping of parts and gears here and there. Not gears, but gear equipment. I'm going to try to get this tranny and at least this diff swapped back around. I think I'm going to bypass putting the 2-speed in right now. It's already midnight here, basically. I've got some friends going to be around 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh shoot, I forgot to get a hold of my neighbor too and let him know we're gonna got a bunch of block and pit and different woods area we play in and crawl in over here. So got a couple buddies coming over. We're gonna do some crawling tomorrow. And knowing Terry, he'll be here like he said, 10 o'clock. So I'll have a little bit of time in the morning, but I haven't been sleeping good, so I'm gonna try to catch up a little bit tonight and hopefully get to sleep, 1:30 and have this at least mostly tranny ready to go back in. Come on. Get the locker all in it and get the tranny all dropped back into place. So yeah, I might just don't know what I want to do on motor and tranny. I'm thinking censored. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that's just the smart way to go. Still draining. Pretty much got it off already, I think. Easier to get these things out this way though. That's where you belong. I noticed last week when I was redoing things after I got done putting the servo in here, actually, I got looking at it and not getting completely full throw to the right. The carrier over here setup is binding, hitting. Actually, what's going on is the arm, your crosslink, is actually hitting on the outside metal of the pumpkin when it comes this way. this bend, looking at this might be a little bent up, but this bend isn't quite aggressive enough here in the cross arm. I seen where one person on the Facebook group tossed in the Ryft SSD's titanium Ryft crosslink. I don't know if they use this crosslink too. They might have, but it's got that nice crosslink bend in it, and it went right around the pumpkin and left all that open. And I thought, oh, that's the way to go. That is the way to go. Oh, that's gonna come right out. That's right. So I may find, I've seen a couple. I may order one. Up in here, I think, right? Yeah. I need it to come out that far. I need it to come out a little bit even. Would have been enough. So I may go ahead and grab the Ryft. And I asked him, I says, that the SSD for the Ryft? He goes, yeah. And it's a couple of ends and looked like Revo ends maybe. And it was plenty wide enough. The ends were snug and tight on threads. It wasn't looking like it was too short. So I may grab one of those because that would solve that little bit of hang up. I put a angled rod end on it, just a Amazon angled. Actually, I think it was a RC 4-wheel drive. Yeah, RC 4-wheel drive angled rod end. Amazon, may as well be Amazon. And took a okay hit, not real hard, but a decent one, and it popped that RC 4-wheel drive angled thing like a twig. So those ain't gonna work. So yeah, it looks like the Revos are the way to go. And then potentially, if you can get a bent rod end, or I'm sorry, an angled, not bent, but an angled rod end, you can put that angled rod end on the left side here of the unit, and that would actually be enough, because that's what I did, and it worked out great. I was able to get full throw both ways with that angled rod end. Unfortunately, I shouldn't have to take that off, but I will. Make life a little bit easier. But yeah, that angled rod end would take care of that. But that Ryft, like I said, the SSD Ryft steering drag link setup, it's got a really well, bent, properly bent to go nicely around the pumpkin and leave good amount of clearance area. Okay, so that for the diff. This for this one, but this is going to get a rebuild, so now we can set that there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bypass the wait a minute. Can I do that without swapping everything around? I can't. Crap. Well, that's kind of a pain in the butt. So I actually gotta go through her. That's got to stay in the front. And I'll just have to I got to pull that locker out. That's right. I forgot. And that's ready. Just to speed her up a little bit when I need to get to it. So yeah, if I have a problem with the front diff at this particular point, which I suspect we all will until we get some hardened diff gears to put into these units, I think diff wear is going to be a common issue. Actually, let me leave that there. Gotta do that. You hell. Over here for a minute. So my next step in the front end to try to keep the diff solid and working until I get those hardened gears would be to pick up the Vitabond diff case and put new gears in it, shim it out well, and hopefully the solid, the full aluminum diff case that Vitabond offers would actually hold the diff gears with a better mesh and a tighter tolerance without being too tight, obviously. And with any luck, the hope that I have would be let's go ahead and wrap those out. The hope that I have would be the less lash going on inside the diff as it's functioning and moving, the less wear that would cause. It would wear, less fast, less issues on the diff. Actually, that's got to come out of there. If I'm not mistaken. Clean her up. Wipe her down a bit. Don't need all that grease in there. Not with a locker. So yeah, hopefully a Vitabond aluminum diff case and brand new fresh diff gears, proper shimming will keep a diff nice and good condition and working without bombing out. At least until we get some good diff gears. So with any luck, Vanquish won't take too long and get that going on. Okay. Now, Okay. Both. Some of the hell here. Well, it's the problem when you get nerve damage. Sometimes shit just falls out of your hands. And it sucks bad. Heard it over here. It didn't fall anywhere. Move that over there and I'll fall my damn trash can. It's got to be here on the these ones in. Hope it didn't fall in the trash can. I didn't hear anything drop in there. Drop here. It's sure it bounced over here somewhere. At least I thought. Okay. Drift rebuild kit, they give you everything but screws. That's kind of a crappy deal. That screw. So I gotta find that first. Oh, I need it. Maybe it did fall in my trash bag. That happens occasionally. I have it in the wrong spot. Well, I didn't hear it hit anything. Could be. Got Smarty wrappers in here. You think you'd hear it, but shit, the Smarty wrappers. Okay. For now, I'm not overly worried about it. I've got other screws. I'll take the one out of this one for the front. For now, to get this one finished up. So yeah, somewhere it's around here. show up shortly. They always do. Okay. It's gonna go in that way. Hey, Blueberry. Good to see you. Have a good night, man. Thanks for swinging in. Okay. Is that all there is to this setup? I believe so. Make sure. Okay. So the other one of those goes. One too many in there. There we go. So that's what that would be. Now it's going to be lacquered. So now my question that I jump into is, do I go ahead and try to take the time and throw this bad boy in there? Because I'd like to actually have this ready to roll and play with. So we're going to pass on the 2-speed. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this back together. Indigestion going on, which isn't helping. Use it. Let's see what other people are doing if they have to, you know, they put in these slightly too large motors like the 2200 here from Hobby Wing, non-censored version there. Is they're, you know, shaving off some of the area up here to get room. But I've seen somebody else, which is what I thought of, is lifting the transmission, picking it up so it can ride over top of this bit of area down here, make that clearance, and maybe not have to get rid of that if you have the slightly larger motor. Again, I'm not sure that's the way I'm going to go or not. Okay, so That sits in there like that, and that's the rear. That's the front. And one. Don't like that. Okay, that puts that back in place. So we'll go ahead and throw this back in for now. And those two. Come on, get over there. I'll see folks talking about the tightness of clearance between the motor and the case, and yeah, she is pretty tight. I could see why if you actually got a bigger motor, why it's folks are saying they can only get a 17 tooth in there, and I can see why here. Yeah, that does make sense, sadly, because it is pretty damn snug up in there. another case for a slightly smaller motor. And at that point, Centerdiff. So my decision is made, at least as far as censored to run censored. So this hobby wing can go back. Come on, let it go, my echo. Time for a smoke, I guess. For the moment, nasty habit. I need to quit someday soon. Let's see now. Next, I need to swap those steering servos over. That's going to take me a little bit of time right away in the morning. Because I'm going to have to pull this one out and get it ready. And I'll take the 555 out of the other one, put it in the Trail King rig, and then just throw the 555 in here with this if I don't have it ready to go, which I might not. But I'll take a few minutes to get her at least back together enough to run. Let's see, what did I do with those ones? That's these two actually. My one buddy's going to bring his Yeti over or not tomorrow. He might. Now he knows I've got this thing, he might bring his Yeti. Oh, he's got a Yeti. It's all built out, but he hasn't run it much. Of course, you don't plan on running it too much. They've had their issues. They're discontinued. But I picked up a Yeti sway bar, hoping I'd be able to get a longer piece of spring steel and use it in this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm going to go wash that before I wipe it out and wash it down, get it all cleaned up. And maybe leave it off just until I can get the lithium grease in the morning, get her cleaned up. But I think his Yeti's got a sway bar, so I'll probably about this one. I'll probably see if I can take it back or send it back with the hobby wing setup for that store credit. Use that towards the ESC and motor that I want for this system, and just pick up a Trio or the not Vanquish Vitavon sway bar, but Vanquish will have one, I'm sure. Hopefully it's not too much longer for those guys. They're losing sales. Lots of people buying the Vitavon stuff. It's pretty decent, no doubt. But if I can spend my money on a U.S. company, I'd much prefer to do that. Just saying. Yeah, I know. A lot of their stuff's made over in Taiwan and such, but a lot of their stuff's not. Wonder if FLM's doing anything for the Ryft. They are a U.S. company, make all their stuff here in the States. So that may be a way to look at some of that. Okay. So that's ready to go. It's ready to go. Go ahead and go clean this up. Get out of there. Messy crap. Okay. All right, go wash the rest of this thing out and give it a little bit of cleaning just to clean it up. It's a little messy and crappy. Alright. Get that thing cleaned up a bit. Lots cleaner now. I still haven't found my darn grease yet either. A tub of marine grease I typically use inside my gearboxes. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. That'll get put on tomorrow. That's the back. That's the back. Goes in like that. There ain't too much room there for those links and stuff. I can see why, but yeah, 3-4 millimeters. That would probably do pretty darn fine. Just a small riser on that transmission plate. Now, unfortunately, that would raise center of gravity just a smidge. That's the same one, so. Truth too. All right, axles. So that pretty much, other than other than just a little bit of grease on those gears, that is ready to drop back in. I do need to find that other screw. See, I do have other screws though. Actually, I might even have one in this part I could use because those are kind of smaller. It's not that bad. Let me see what I might have in here. Got a 2.5 in here. Let's see. On the Smarty Wrappers. See nothing in there. Let's take another look in the morning when I can get outside and empty it out and see better. That does need there we go. I think that's got one in it. Yeah, buddy. Nice to have spare parts. And I got 2.5 million fluid to run in this bad boy. Really? Give you new O-rings? Crazy. You should absolutely get new O-rings in your diff refill kit. That's kind of a pain in the ass. I can understand the shims. You should actually get shims with it too, but no O-rings at all either. Alright. So, let me see one of these CRCs. These are actually a little thinner. Yeah. These actually are 5. Which one I got open here? This one. Go ahead and pop off 2 of these. There's 2. Looks like there's one more. Can't remember. Oh, that's right. This is out of the. There's only going to be one more because that's out of the diff. Centerdiff, not the front. Yeah, let me grab another. No, not another. Grab this other. That was the rear. Bearing off that too. I'm sure that bother right now. Okay. Drop this and this. What else did I want to get? There's one more thing back there. I guess that's it. And drop those pieces up. Whole damn thing go in there. Okay. Now, when you're putting your diffs together, folks, anybody catches this, make sure your cross pins, you got your two cross pins and they got little hatches cut out of them that mesh together. I've seen a few people talking about, and admittedly, some of these folks were new folks. They haven't been in the RC. So let me pop this out a little bit, give you a little better, clear look, just in case you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about or other people are. So let me use this one. So if you see the cross pin, see how it's got that hash cut out of it? Let me get this damn thing to focus there. These cross pins, this one's got one in it too. Those cross pins set together so those two hashes are, not like that. I get it to focus, make it focus. Come on, damn you. That's not right. Those two cross pins gotta be, those two hashes gotta be crossing each other face to face. So the pins settle in center. Not only is that gonna make your gear mesh proper, but that is also going to allow your diff to fully close and not lock in. So when you're assembling your diff, you got to make sure you take a minute and roll these pins around and make sure they're centered and they're actually going together the way they're supposed to. So the diff is assembled and good to go. There, now you can kind of see that it's put together right. The cross pins are setting. Huh. There it is. See, there, now you can see them. Those cross pins are actually covering each other. That's what you need those to do. So that way you know they're setting flush with each other. Now, we need pull up the new stuff, right? Yes, 2.5. This is Gravity's 2.5 million diff fluid. Some thicky stuff. Seen a couple of people talk about running some 2.5 in the front. I don't know if it needs to be that thick, but it comes with 1 million. I do want to kind of lock the front up, but I don't want it to be locked up. Still hoping to be able to get some turning out of this thing. I don't know how everybody else does it. A lot of people will set it off to the side and just let it sit. I'll work it a little bit. All right. Careful, I'm looking for all the damn screws. Hey, get this one in there. Hey, welcome whoever just popped in. Rebuilding the front of the diff. Not quite sure what these are from. Most likely that screw is out of one of the SSD packages. Yeah, so maybe not, but yeah, that's 2.5. Right. It's got a slightly smaller head than these other three, but same length, same thread. So that will be fine. Now I'll wait until I actually get the other locker here, get the piece to make sure that I can make my Ryft 99 mini or 99 micro work for shifting. Before I go ahead and redo the front axle, fill it with the fast eddy bearings. I'm hoping this works just fine the way it is. Let's see how she goes. Oh yeah. A little bump, but she'll wear in a little bit. I think we're gonna go ahead and stick with that. I think that'll work out fine in the front end. Go ahead and clean this little bit of smooths off the thread area. This stuff's so damn thick. Basically roll it off the edge. I got some 2.5 million and some 1 million gravity diff oil, same diff oil, same company. I picked up some of the 1 million the first time because that's what stock was. And then, you know, seeing the diff, and okay, I'll throw some 2.5 in there. It might push on those shims a little bit. That's where I think the stock diff cups are going to come in, and I'm thinking a couple. If he's got the shim diff cups built really well, which I understand he does. Yeah, that's the other wore out one. Put that back here for the minute. So I should have went in the other side. But I understand Arthur over at Vitavon on the diff cups has them tolerance very well. We'll see if you need any shims. You don't need any shims or a very, very small one. Even in the Centerdiff, when I pulled it apart, I could see off the one side every shim was no longer flat. it was concaved a little bit because the shim is being pushed into the O-ring, and the O-ring's just doesn't have enough support. So the shim actually deforms, which allows the cups to start spreading out inside the diff, because that shim's not holding those drive gears snug into the spider gears. So when they give and flex, that allows a couple thousandths of an inch of play. That opens up your area in your teeth, and they are going to be sloppy, especially if they've worn down, because now they've got room to jump and move. So I presume that is what is actually going on inside the diffs. Yeah, I'm almost surprised they didn't do the same thing SSD did. And slide this back in. And use a few pieces of, there we go, a few actual, got both things there. Is that? Yes, both come off. A couple differential clamps. That is one of the nice things I like about that Trail King kit, is it pretty much locks the diff right in place. I'll get in there. Helps lock the diff clamps on the bearings around the diff, help lock it into the case, and really keeps those diffs nice and centered and placed in the pumpkin. Come on, get in there, dang ya. Now, for anybody that are watching, I pulled up about 1/2 an inch of diff fluid in that syringe, then smashed it on top and just shoved it in and moved it in and around, and then worked the syringe a little bit or the gears to help pull that diff fluid down inside. Probably be a little gap in there. I probably could put a little bit more in there, but I'm thinking that is going to be good enough. So this one in place. Spun around. Like that. Nuts go on the bottom. So you can always, when you're throwing her together, always tell which side your nuts are on. Therefore, which side your axle's got to be put together on. These in here. actually feels really good. Okay, do those. What did I do with those for bolts? Oh, guess they're already still in there. They are already still in there. What is that for? What did I miss? Is that? Oh, okay. I see what that's for. It filled out. Okay. Now. That one broke real easy. Ooh, my other angled rod in. I don't have anymore. You can't use the other one. Okay. Puts this back together. Go ahead and pop this out for now. And then in the morning, I'll swap this into the other one. Put the 555 in here. Seen somebody on RC Tech the other day, a couple days ago, put a Reese 500, a raw 500 up for sale. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just grab that, and went back this evening. It was already sold. It was a pretty decent price he was offering for it, or asking for it. What did I do with my... Left it out there. Pretty sure. Let's clean that off a little bit. So the 555 will offer even more torque and speed than the raw 500 does. Was talking with Axial Cage there for a minute. Can't quite remember his first name at the top of my head. Joe. Talked with Joe over at Axial Cage for a couple seconds on Facebook earlier. And he was saying he thinks the 500 may have slightly different gearing than the 555. I thought they were the same myself. I know the 555 has steel gears all the way through it, and that's, you know, one of the reasons why it's a tough little bastard as far as the servo goes. So the 555 I think will do quite well in here, and this 444 will do real well in the Trail King rig. Okay, I think that for now is where I need to be. Transmission setup is put back together. Motor, I'm going to leave the Spectrum in here for now. I've got to grease the gears before I throw this back in. And then, so I've got, now I'll have locked rear end, locked center, and 2.5 million diff fluid on a freshly rebuilt diff. So with any luck, that will keep the front end working decently. Tomorrow or Tuesday, I'll have another locker. So I'll have 3 lockers if I need to lock that diff up. I'm probably going to go ahead and order 2 diff cups from Vitavon. So if this one trashes out, I can lock it or rebuild it with a Vitavon diff case. Solid aluminum billeted 70-75 diff case. Should take out any of those stresses that this thing is seeing, keep it nice and snug. And maybe with any luck that will stop the diff gear wears, but I doubt it. I think it's going to take a hardened set of diff gears before that's ready. But that would give me an options, and then I'll just buy the stuff and throw it. You know, actually I'll have stuff I got there, so I can throw my locker in that other diff that I've got now. Put it all together and just buy another ring and pinion gear and throw it all in, have that diff with a locker in it ready to go if needed. So that'll get me here. Let's get this ready to put back into place. This is pretty much ready to put back into place. I still have to, you know, put the axle back in, put the servo back in, but that won't take too long in the morning to do that. Get those things ready to go. First thing I got to do though is concentrate on getting my servos swapped in my other rig. So I'll have to take and pop this radio box open. Actually, I don't. Yeah, I think I got a radio box in it. Maybe I don't. It might be a little bit easier yet. So I'll get up in the morning, grab a little breakfast, and then get the servo swapped. And once the servo is swapped, then I'll be able to come right back to the Ryft and start putting the Ryft back together the rest of the way. So, all right, folks. So thanks for hanging out, checking in. Hit that like, subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Now, when you hit that bell, be sure to click on the three little dots there for alternative menu, your access menu, and then choose all. Facebook changed things a little while ago, and when you hit the menu, it just notifies for personal notifications. So I would have to send you a personal notification, say I'm going live. But if you choose all notifications, when you see I'm going live, you'll get that notification. You won't go, where did it go? How did I didn't get it? Because Facebook made a change, and a lot of people are of the mind that they did it on purpose, censoring people, and I do believe that. But it's an easy fix if that is what they're doing. Again, just by turning around and hitting those notification bell, clicking the 3 dots, and then choosing all notifications. Then you'll get them. Not just for me, but whoever you do that with. So if you're following people and you're not getting their videos, that's why. So go in there and do that. So anyways, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you later.